At a luxury dinner, my husband's ex-wife offered him a baby and my calm revenge cost him everything. Here's how one unexpected moment unraveled our entire life. At a luxury dinner. My husband's ex-wife offered him a baby and my calm revenge cost him everything. Here's how one unexpected moment unraveled our entire life. It was supposed to be an evening to remember. An elegant celebration of our life together. My husband, Ethan, and I had chosen the most luxurious restaurant in the city for a special dinner. It wasn't a birthday or an anniversary, just an ordinary night we had decided to make extraordinary. A little escape from the routine, a chance to enjoy each other's company in the finest setting possible. The restaurant, perched on a cliff overlooking the shimmering expanse of the ocean, was everything we dreamed of for a night like this. The ambience was serene, the service impeccable, and the atmosphere romantic with the soft glow of candles flickering on each table. We were seated by the window, gazing out at the horizon where the last of the sun's light dipped beneath the waves. The table was set with the finest china, and the air was filled with the gentle strains of jazz playing in the background. Everything was perfect. I was trying to hold on to this perfect moment, savoring the rare quiet time we had to ourselves, when Ethan's phone buzzed. Breaking the peaceful silence, I glanced at the phone, and Ethan's hand immediately went to pick it up, his fingers hovering over the screen for a moment before he answered. It wasn't like him to take calls at a time like this, especially when we were in such a beautiful setting. But there was something in the way he reacted that caught my attention. His face grew tense, his brow furrowing as he stepped away from the table, speaking in low, almost inaudible tones. I sat still, trying to ignore the unease creeping into my chest. There had been moments before when I had wondered about the connection Ethan still seemed to have with his past, specifically his ex-wife, Amanda. She had always been a part of our lives, even though Ethan swore that their marriage was long over and he had no lingering feelings for her. But sometimes, I felt that he was still attached to her in ways that weren't entirely healthy. I couldn't help but feel a wave of suspicion rising inside me. What was it this time? Why did the mere mention of her name still cause such a reaction? My thoughts raced as I stared at my wine glass, swirling the contents absently. I wanted to enjoy this moment, this night, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Minutes passed, and Ethan didn't return. The food was brought to the table, but I wasn't hungry. The light in the room seemed too dim, and the warmth of the candlelight no longer seemed to reach me. My mind kept drifting back to the phone call. I knew that something had shifted. I wasn't sure what it was yet, but the tightness in my chest told me that it wasn't good. Finally, Ethan came back, his face drawn, his body language stiff. He sat down across from me, taking a deep breath before meeting my eyes. I didn't have to ask what had happened. I could see the guilt and tension in his posture, and it only confirmed my worst fears. "Amanda," he said quietly, almost as if he were bracing himself for my reaction. "She called." I swallowed hard, keeping my voice steady. "What did she want?" He looked away for a moment, staring out at the ocean, as though he were searching for the right words. "She wants to meet. She said it's important. She needs to talk to me about something to do with Luke." Luke? Their son. The child who had been the center of their world before I came into the picture. I knew that Ethan loved Luke, but there was something about their shared history that felt like a constant undercurrent in our lives. Sometimes, it felt like Amanda was still there, lingering in the background, making her presence known at the most inconvenient times. I tried to keep my emotions in check, but the anger and jealousy simmered just beneath the surface. "Why now?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Why after all this time does she suddenly need to talk to you?" Ethan shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "I don't know, Emma. I didn't want to tell you about it, but I couldn't just ignore her. She said she had something important to share, and it concerns Luke." I felt a bitter taste rise in my throat. How many times had I been in this position? How many times had I felt like an afterthought? Ethan and Amanda's past was a constant shadow in our marriage, and it was something I had accepted, at least outwardly. But in moments like this, I couldn't help but wonder if I would ever be enough to completely take her place in his life. It wasn't even about Luke. It was about the way Amanda seemed to hold power over Ethan. The way he still couldn't entirely shake off the strings that connected him to her. "We were supposed to be here together," I said, my voice cold and tight. "And she calls you at the worst possible time." Ethan winced, his face filled with guilt. "I'm sorry, Emma. I didn't mean for it to ruin our night. I can't ignore her when it comes to Luke. He's my son, and I have to make sure everything is okay." I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "I understand that you care about Luke, but this is our time, Ethan. We've been so busy with work and everything else, and now she's pulling you back into her drama. You have to see this for what it is." "I know," he said quietly, his voice laced with frustration. "But I can't turn my back on her, not when it comes to Luke." I shook my head, feeling my patience wearing thin. "It's not just Luke, is it?" I asked, the words slipping out before I could stop them. "It's her, Ethan. You're still tied to her in some way, and it's messing with us." Ethan froze, his face hardening. "That's not fair, Emma. You know I love you. I've told you this before, but it wasn't enough." I could feel the distance between us growing, like there was a space opening up that I could never quite close. It wasn't about Luke. It was about Amanda, the ex-wife who had never quite left, always circling back at just the right moment to remind Ethan of their shared past. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed on the table. I glanced at it, surprised to see a message from an unknown number. I hesitated before opening it, but something told me it was important. I clicked it open, and my stomach dropped as I read the first line. "Is Ethan still with you?" The message read. My fingers trembled as I held the phone, glancing up at Ethan. His face went pale as soon as he saw the text. "That's Amanda's number," he muttered under his breath. I felt my heart race as I read the next message. "I need to meet with you tomorrow, Ethan. There's something you need to know. Something about Luke and the future." The words hit me like a slap to the face. There was something in the tone, in the words, that felt wrong. It was like she was dangling something in front of him, trying to manipulate him into meeting her, into letting her back into our lives. "I don't like this, Ethan," I said, my voice shaking with the intensity of my emotions. "She's trying to control you. She's playing games." "I'm not going to just ignore her," Ethan replied, his voice defensive. "I have to see what she wants." I couldn't believe it. This was happening again. Amanda was back, and she was using the one thing that still tied Ethan to her, Luke. I knew how much Ethan cared for his son, but I also knew that Amanda was trying to pull him back into her web. And I wasn't going to let it happen. "Ethan, if you go to her," I said, my voice low and steady. "If you choose her over me, then this is it. I won't stay. I won't let her ruin everything we've built." Ethan's eyes widened, but I could see the conflict in them. He didn't want to lose me, but I could tell that Amanda's pull was too strong. He wasn't seeing the bigger picture. He wasn't seeing that she was using Luke as a way to get back into his life, to tear us apart once again. I stood up from the table, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. "I'm done with this, Ethan. If you can't see what's happening, then I can't be part of it anymore." I walked out of the restaurant, leaving him behind, feeling a strange sense of calm wash over me. I had made my choice. If Ethan couldn't see what was at stake, then I would have to let him go. I couldn't keep fighting for a relationship where I was always second best. That night, as I lay in bed alone, my mind kept replaying the evening. The tension. The texts. The words I had said. I wasn't sure what would happen next, but I knew one thing. I wouldn't let Amanda's games tear us apart without fighting for my place in his life. It was his choice now, and whatever decision he made would cost him everything. And if he chose her, then so be it. But I wasn't going to stay and watch it unfold. Not this time.